Okay, so we'll get started. I was gonna wait a few more minutes, but I don't know. I'm kind of nervous. So like my hands are so sweaty. You'd think after 5 years of team calls, I wouldn't get nervous, but I do. So I'm so excited to have all of you on here. As Cheryl mentioned last week, we are combining team calls, which is such a cool idea to me, like myself. And there's either 5 or 6 of us that have decided to join forces, kind of share the team calls for the rest of the year. And I just think it's so neat because like we all have different strengths, different weaknesses, different things we love about the business, different things we love to talk about. And I don't know about you guys, but I know for me, I can hear something from someone and hear the same thing from someone else. And sometimes it just clicks more because even though we're all doing the same things, we all do things a little bit differently too, right? So super excited for this. And we hope to keep everything fresh and just bring as much value as we can. So I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about me for those of you that don't know. So my name is Jen Quigley. I'm a 3-star diamond coach. I have been coaching about 5.5 years, which sounds so crazy because I feel like I just started yesterday. I am from a small-ish town, Belleville, Ontario, Canada. And yeah, that's kind of me, a little bit about me. So I'm really excited to chat with you guys today about consistency. This is something I have heard since the first day I started as a coach, and it has kind of stuck with me ever since. And I truly feel it is the secret sauce for, I know for myself seeing success in this business, and I'm sure some other people could agree. So just a little bit of background. When I started coaching, I was working 3 other jobs. I was doing supply, EA, ECE with the school board. I was doing private respite, and I was waitressing evenings and weekends. So I was busy, you guys. I had no idea how I was going to fit coaching into my schedule. And to be honest, I didn't even know if I wanted to coach at first. I signed up initially for like fitness program, 21-day fix, Shakeology. My coach mentioned signing up as a coach for free. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll try it. And I fell in love with it. Within 30 days, I fell in love. And I saw such a huge opportunity with this. And I saw other people, retiring their spouses, firing their bosses, working from home. And I wanted that. So from day one, I made that decision that I wanted this full time. I didn't really know 100% how I was going to do it just yet. But I knew I had the tools to do it. And I knew if I showed up and I put the work in, it would happen. So again, 3 jobs, super busy. So for me in the beginning, pockets of time were key, which I'm going to chat a little bit more about in a second. So now that I coach full time, so I've been coaching 5.5 years, full time for 2, my days obviously look a little bit different than when I started, but I'm still doing the same behaviors. And I think that's really neat. Like, you just have to stick with the basics. And I'm going to kind of go over what I have kind of decided was like non-negotiables, and you'll hear them called the vitals. And I truly feel like these things done consistently over time just compounds into something incredible. So there's obviously lots of little different things we can be doing in this business. Like I honestly feel like I could work 24/7 if I let myself, but that's a good thing, right? Because like you're passionate about it. So for me, when I started and to this day, non-negotiables for me are working out, drinking your Shakeology. Obviously that is a given. Inviting, following up. So inviting, I always like to kind of just throw in that you have to find what works for you, you guys. Like, I know inviting kind of has this weird, scary thing around it sometimes, but there's so many different ways you can invite. And I've honestly tried a ton of them, and some of them just don't feel great. And then I found ones that are like, wow, this feels awesome. And like, I don't even care. You just hit send, right? So make sure you're playing around, find something that works good for you, and just know that there's so many little different ways you can invite. We just got to make sure we're doing it. And then of course you want to be inviting in your stories. You can do polls in your posts. I always try to do an invite in my post once a week. Personal development. This is something, so I know in the beginning I was like, nope, I'm not doing it. Like, you guys are crazy. I am not going to the self-help section in chapters, but it has been a game changer. If you find a PD that you need right now in this moment, it can honestly change your life. And I've now read more books in the last 5 years than I ever thought I would read in my entire life. So personal development is key. And for me, so again, I'm going to kind of sort of chat about like when I was working 3 jobs, because that's how I built this business, was working 3 jobs. And then I slowly kind of just let go. And I like to tell people that like busy people, in my opinion, make the best coaches. Like I find when I was working 3 jobs, I was so much better with my time management and like getting things done because I only had little pockets of time. Now I have all day and it's like you get sweeping or cleaning and doing laundry and yada, yada, yada. So if you're busy, if you're someone that has another job, a couple jobs, know that you can do this. You just have to be focused and really use those pockets of time. So personal development for me in the beginning was usually Audible because I just didn't have time to sit down and read a book. So Audible I would do in the car to and from work, while making dinner, while sweeping. I would put my headphones in, stick my phone in my pocket. So I always paired it with another activity so that I didn't feel like I was, well, not wasting time, but I struggled with just sitting down to read. So Audible was a game changer for me. Adding and following new people. Something I hear so much is like, I've run out of people to talk to, or like, I run out of people to invite. I'm telling you, if you are consistently expanding your network, you will never run out of people to talk to because there's billions of people in this world. And I promise you, they don't all have a coach or know what Beachbody is. So something I did, not even kidding you, every single day before I got out of bed was expanded my network. Now, when I started, Instagram wasn't as big, so it was mostly just like Facebook for me. But every day I started with 3 to 5 people. I sent 3 to 5 friend requests every single day. And then once I got in a good habit, a good routine with that, I bumped it up to 5 to 10. And then I stuck with that because I know like you have to be careful, obviously, with following and adding friends. You don't want to get like banned or anything. So that was a good number for me. And I'm not kidding you guys. I started out with like 300 friends on Facebook. I've now been doing a Facebook cleanup because I got some weirdos on there, but I maxed out at 5,000. So it grows. And like same with my Instagram, like I'm over like 15,000 followers, started out with like 200. And that is just from consistently adding and following new people. And again, like it's not going to happen overnight. And that's something I always like to stress. You just have to give it time. Like these things over, like, you know, think of a plant, you know, you water it every day and then it grows. Like our business is the same way, but you have to consistently be watering the plant, right? Or else it'll die. So adding new people, following new people. If you're new, I sometimes suggest focusing on one platform. Because again, like my jam was always Facebook, and then Instagram kind of became big, but I was already comfortable with Facebook. So then I kind of took on Instagram. So if you're newer, don't be afraid to just focus on mastering one platform, whether it be Facebook or Instagram, get comfortable with it. And then you can tackle another one, but you just want to make sure whichever one you're using, one or both, that you're expanding your network, because that's huge. That's going to get your posts out in front of more people. Again, that's going to give you people to chat with, make connections with, invite to your groups, posting on socials. So you guys are kind of lucky in the sense that when I started coaching, we had to post 3 to 5 times a day on like your main page. So like on your Instagram or your Facebook. And like, that was hard. It was hard to come up with content. I only did 3. I did a morning, afternoon, evening. And it was hard to come up with content for 3 posts. So Instagram stories and Facebook stories are kind of nice because I feel like that just allows people to get to know you, right? So now I post once a day at minimum, like always once every single day. I can honestly say since I started coaching, minus the one Facebook ban I got and the one Instagram ban I got, I have posted every single day on my social media, every single day, like Scout's honor, no joke. Every single day. Sometimes you guys, life happens, you know, you're having a crappy day. You know, you can't always think of like the most amazing thought out post. Sometimes it was just a quote, you know, because it was just one of those days. You're busy, you're rushed, you're not feeling super inspired. So I just found a quote that I liked, you know, paired it with a nice photo, and at least I was still showing up. So post once a day, aim for once a day. And then stories, I always aim for 6 to 12 stories, but again, that does not always happen but I always will post at least one story. There has been days, again, you're just kind of having an off day, whatever, and I'll just post like a black background and I'll just type out, hey guys, I'm really not feeling like showing up on social media today. Enjoy your day. See you tomorrow. And like that just lets people know that, hey, okay, she's still here. We'll see her tomorrow. Because like, I don't know, I just find people notice and people will start to come to your page. And like the more consistent you are, like people are going to want to come to your page for the things you post. Like I used to think, oh my gosh, I'm so boring. I do the same things every day. But then I listened to, I think it was Angie Belmar, and she was like, no, like people love that consistency. They come to your page knowing they're going to see like Jen doing her energize shots or Jen doing this. So don't ever think like your life's boring or that you're being repetitive and stuff like that, because people like that. People like routine, people like consistency, and they're following you for a reason. So that is always a big tip of mine, is you have to show up on your social media. It's like a job, right? Like our Facebook and like our Instagram is like going into work. So it's like if you don't show up there, it's like you just didn't come into work. So those are my non-negotiables. So things I like to make sure I get done every single day before I go to bed. And then of course, if I have time, because like when I was first starting, I didn't have a ton of extra time. So it was getting those non-negotiables, getting my workout in, drinking my shake, posting. Those were like, have to have done every single day, because that's what I was told. I was just, from day one, I was told, show up, drink your shakes, do your workouts, post, and like commit to being here in a year and like watch the magic happen. And you guys, like, that's what I did. I just was like, okay, so-and-so told me to show up every day and do these things. So that's what I'm going to do. And it was nothing fancy. Like we didn't even have the business activity tracker yet. So like I used a notebook. It's funny because it's all the same things though. Like I mentioned, I used a notebook and I just, I had a picture with me all the time. So if I was like on a break or whatever, I just, go through that list and make sure I was getting everything done. And again, you guys, like life happens. I always like to say, be consistent with your business building activities, but flexible with your schedule, because again, life is going to happen. So find like, what you are able to do no matter what. If that's getting a post out and getting your workout in and drinking your shake, great, because that doesn't take that long. And then other days, if you can get more stuff done, awesome. Obviously the goal is to tick off as many things as you can, but that's just not doable all the time. So those things worked for me. I spent maybe an hour or two pockets of time throughout the day in the beginning, and like I was able to build a killer business. Like it's now my full-time job. So just, stay committed, stay focused, and know that like, if you want this to happen, it will absolutely happen. So obviously, like I said, get those done first. And then if you have leftover time, that's when you want to be making your fancy graphics and, checking into challenge groups. Like that stuff is important, but you want to make sure you're focusing on the things that are moving the needle forward in your business, which is, inviting, chatting with people, working on you. First and foremost, working on us. We can't inspire people and whatever from an empty cup. So always first and foremost, working on you and inviting people to join us, and then, the other stuff. So I want to give you guys some tips and tricks that have helped me stay consistent and do these things consistently, because it didn't happen overnight and it took time to build those habits, just like anything. So my first tip, and we talked a little bit about this last week, take extra photos. This might sound silly, but for me, the biggest struggle was always having something to post, like a photo to post. And you don't always feel like snapping a selfie, right? So if there were days where I actually, straightened my hair and, wore something other than like workout clothes or leggings and a hoodie, like, I'd try to take different photos. Sometimes I would even like take a photo inside. I'd put on a different shirt, take a photo outside, if you have the time, of course. And like my boyfriend's been so great. Like if we're out for a drive, I'll say, hey, can you stop quick? Like, please snap a photo. Honestly, just having that like kind of folder of extra photos goes a long way, because I'm telling you, there's going to be days where maybe you're sick or like something happens and you just like, crap, like I need to post, but I have nothing to post. That folder of extra photos comes in handy, and people aren't going to know that you took the photo a month ago or today, right? So don't worry about that. Anytime you have inspiration for a post, I don't know about you guys, but for me, every time I'm in the shower, I'm like, I think of the best post ideas. Hope, like, usually I can remember them by the time I get out, and I'll go right to the notes on my phone and I write them down, even just like a topic, like just general idea. And that's always nice too, to have that like kind of little folder collection of post ideas for the days that you're maybe just not feeling super motivated, super inspired, don't really know what you want to say. So then bam, you've got a little like note section of posts you've already written. And don't be afraid to reuse posts. Like memories and stuff on Facebook will pop up, and I'll be like, wow, that was a great post. It was from like a year ago or 2 years ago. So I just copy and paste the wording and then I stick it with a new photo. People are not going to remember my post from 2 years ago. So that's super helpful too. Setting goals is huge. I find weekly, monthly goals. And I say that because it keeps you excited. I used to be the person that would just set like a year goal, like yearly. And like, and then all of a sudden it'd be November and I wouldn't be anywhere close to this goal. And I'd be like, okay, we got to get to work. That's just not fun. It doesn't work well and it doesn't keep you excited. This year, I found setting weekly and monthly goals, like 30 days at a time, really keep you excited and motivated to show up and just reminds you like what you're working towards. So goal setting is huge. Obviously, you guys, this should be a no-brainer, product of the product. You should be drinking your Shakeology or Performance Line monthly. I always say Shakeology unless for some reason you can't or whatever. Completing programs, like start to finish. And you know what, you guys? I have shared backwards results photos. There's been times where I rocked the workouts, but my nutrition sucked, or vice versa. So my day 1 photos were actually better than my day 21 photos, but I shared it anyway. And I just said, you know what, you guys, I completed every workout, but hey, my nutrition wasn't great. So that's real and honest. And people don't really relate to perfect, right? So it shows that you're human, but I can't stress enough that if you have not completed a program start to finish, you need to, and you have to share your results. People love results. And a lot of times people are just waiting. They're just sitting there waiting to see results because I don't know what it is. People just, need to see that sometimes, be like, oh, okay, like it works. So definitely make sure you're completing programs and try other products. Like if you've only had Shakeology, try Energize, try collagen, try the greens boost. Like make a goal once a month, every month, try a new product because it's so much easier to chat with people about stuff when you're like, oh yeah, I've tried it. It tastes really good. Or, oh, I didn't really love it, but it works well and whatever. So be sure to be like trying products. Also, something I always like to say is don't be a billboard for Beachbody. Share how this fits into your life and what it's doing for you. You don't want to just be like Shakeology, 21-day fix, autumn, make it your own and just like share how we fit this into our lives because we are all so much more than just Beachbody, right? So you just want to make sure you're not just sharing all about Beachbody. So I find for me just more so saying how I include it in my day and like come up with fun names for different things. And then always like be telling your story, adding value and try to solve a problem. So like sometimes I'll be like, oh crap, something happened and I don't want to share about it, but then I do share about it, but I always make sure I share what I'm going to do to like overcome it or what I did do to overcome it. Cause that's like, someone could be going through the same thing. So don't be afraid to share the good and the bad days because again, life isn't perfect and people will relate to that. And you could inspire someone, give them hope that again, maybe they're going through something similar. Consistently consistent is honestly like a motto of mine. And again, from day 1, I had it written at the top of a notebook. Show up daily, treat it like any other job. No, I'm not saying be on 24/7 because that's not enjoyable for anyone, but set your business hours, stick to those business hours, commit to them just like you would going to a job outside of the house. Like for me, Monday to Friday, I'm working my business. Saturday, Sunday, little less because, I worked every single weekend and this was like a goal of mine. So I do a little less on the weekends, but I still always show up on my social media and on my stories and in my challenge group. So again, like do what works best for you in this business, but know that like you get what you put in. So show up daily, treat it like any other job. Obviously using your business activity tracker. You guys, that is gold. And I'm telling you, I have been using that for 5 years. Nothing else, nothing crazy. That. Yes, I do a little extra of what's on there. Like, it has 5 invites. Sometimes I do 20, sometimes I do 50, whatever. But I am doing those same behaviors and have done those same behaviors every day. So look at that and figure out what you can do in your day. Like write out everything when you're showering, if you have to pick the kids up from school, if you have an appointment, and schedule in your Beachbody stuff just like you would anything else. Alarms. This was something that helped me huge because, again, like I said, this didn't become a habit for me just overnight. It took time. So I had an alarm, a repeat alarm set on my phone when I first started coaching for like 6 months, and it just said power hour with a punch emoji. So that reminded me every single day to make sure I was doing it. And and then it got me in those habits. And also timers to keep you on task. I am bad with getting like super distracted, and I'll be trying to do 10 things at once and then I don't get anything accomplished. So the past year or so, I've really found using timers helps huge. So if I'm writing a post, I will set a timer for 5 minutes. If my post isn't done, well, then I move on because it shouldn't take you longer than 5 to 10 minutes to write a post. If I am doing my inbox, I'll set a timer, 20 minutes. If I'm not done, that's okay. I move on. And then I just find setting those timers, you stay focused because you kind of try to beat the clock as well. So I find setting timers to keep you on track helps huge. Obviously, like I said, posting is so big because you guys, we are a storefront. So if we aren't showing up on social media, people don't know that we have something they can join, right? And I always try to think of it like if I was to join a personal trainer or something like that, and they only showed up once a month or here and there once every other week, or they'd show up a couple days and then they'd go MIA for a couple weeks, I probably wouldn't join with that person because they're not reliable. And if they're not showing up on their own journey, why would they show up and help me on my journey, right? So show up as the coach you would want to have, if that makes sense. And stick to the basics, in your stories and stuff. The business activity tracker gives you a list of things to post, but then also have a good mixture of your own life too, because you don't want to just be posting about Beachbody. That's not super fun, and people don't want to read about Beachbody every single day. So sprinkle in your life. I was always told, pick 5 things that make you you, and make sure you're sharing about those. And also Jake's story, I'm sure you guys have seen him around. He had me do a little exercise one time on a call with him, and it helped huge with posting because I found I was really good at posting about my challenge groups, but I struggled to post about coaching. So he's like, Jen, I want you to get out a piece of paper and write down 30 things. 30. It actually took me a couple days to get to 30, but now it's in my phone and it's been so helpful. So 30 things you love about Beachbody and coaching. And then when I needed to write a post, I just pulled out that list and I'd pick something. And then I would just circle back. I'd put checks beside them, after I used that idea, and then I would just circle back. So that was something that really helped me kind of weave in more coach posts. Don't overcomplicate it. I know we can do that in this business. It's easy to do, but I just find over 5.5 years, you learn a lot, a lot of failing forward and stuff like that. And I find when I try to just go out and recreate all of these trainings and all of these things, then all I end up doing is wasting my time and overwhelming myself and overwhelming my team. So just stick to the basics. Seriously, that business activity tracker, don't reinvent the wheel. Everything we need in this business has pretty much already been done for us. You just obviously have to put your own spin on it. Pay attention to what other successful coaches are doing, but make it your own. Get involved in trainings, push to emeralds, push to diamonds, chat pods. I know for me, that was huge for me in my business. I went emerald in a push to emerald, diamond in a push to diamond. So take advantage of those. Share your journey, obviously. That's a given, but share it authentically, be you, share the raw and real, and don't feel like you have to just share the good days. I know at first I felt like if I had a bad day, like I missed a workout or I ate really bad or whatever, that I couldn't post or I couldn't share about it. But then I realized, no, that's silly, because again, people don't relate to perfect. People relate to like real people. And that is missing workouts, eating a box of donuts, drinking a bottle of wine, whatever. So don't be afraid to share the good and the bad, because that's going to connect you with your people. And then, yeah, be relatable, know your why for this business. Why are you doing this? And it might change as you go along. But I know for me, that's something that really helps me when the days I felt like quitting, the days I felt like throwing in the towel, I just, I sat down, I reread my why, I reread my vision. And then I'm like, yeah, okay, let's get to work, because we're building a business. It's not always going to be super easy, butterflies and rainbows, but this is a pretty amazing friggin' gig. We get to work on ourselves and we get to share that with other people. And it's pretty amazing if you let it. Trust the process, be patient, and show up. Another thing I had written when I first started as a coach was be here in 1 year. Be consistently consistent and be here in 1 year, because a lot of people, I think, expect to like start and in 30 days be, I don't know, a 15-star millionaire coach, and they're not, and then they get discouraged and they throw in the towel, and that like kills me, because it takes freaking time. It takes so much time to, like, you're building a business. And I always like when people compare it to like school. You go to school for a university degree, you go to school for 5, 8, whatever years, and none of us say anything about that, like, oh, that's too long to go to school. But we do that with our business. It's no different, you guys. So commit to being here in 1 year. If you've already been here a year, commit to being here in another year. And just, you have to trust the process and be patient, and know that if you are being consistently consistent and doing the things, like not just saying you're doing them, actually doing them, it will happen. It will compound. And over time, you'll have something friggin' amazing. Two other things. I'm almost done. Something I always like to compare this business to is our health and wellness journey. If we are following the program to a T, getting our workouts in, getting our nutrition in, drinking our water, how amazing are our results? Really good, right? And opposite, if we aren't really doing the workouts, if we're not really following the nutrition, the results suck. Our business is the same way. If we are consistently showing up and putting in the work, doing that business activity tracker, you're gonna see the results. I always like to say, like, results come from what we do consistently, not occasionally. And then my last tip is just seriously have fun and be yourself. It can be hard in this business to not compare to other people and, I don't know, just suck the fun out of it. And I did it. I did that for like a year one time. I was just like comparing myself to everyone and was like, oh, like, why are they ahead of me? Blah, 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 blah. And like, I just wasn't having fun anymore. And then like, it was just like a light bulb hit. And I was like, Jen, go back to what you were enjoying, your challenge groups. And it's like when you just take the pressure off the business side of things and you just go back to having fun, working on your own journey and sharing this and not overcomplicating it, it just kind of starts to happen. So have fun with it. Like, you have to make this business fun, or else why do it really? I mean, of course, it's like I said, it's not always going to be fun, but you don't want it to be something that you're showing up and dreading every single day. I think that's kind of all I have, but yeah, just I can't stress enough, be consistently consistent, and just know that if you want this, you can do it, but you have to show up and put the work. Make that business activity tracker your best friend. If you only get a post out and do your workout one day, that's okay. The next day, try to tick off a few more things, because you're human, life happens. But I'm telling you, do that every day and like commit to being here for a while, and it will take off and you will have a killer freaking business. I think that's all I have. Hopefully that all made sense. I feel like I talked really fast and rambled a little bit. Does anyone have any questions? I totally thought I would have went longer. Usually I ramble. I don't know if there's any questions in the chat thread. I don't think so. Oh, sorry, Cheryl. I didn't know. I thought I did you guys can unmute yourselves. Oh, sorry. There you go.
I to unmute and I can, but no problem. So first of all, that was really helpful. It was a great overview. And now since we got to know each other a couple months ago and I've started seeing your posts in my feed, I love them. I think they're amazing. I think your pictures are great too. But I was wondering, like, what do you do on a day where you're like just really not motivated, but you said you posted every day for the last 5.5 years? Like, how do you post on days like that when you're just like not motivated?
So in the beginning, it was funny because I used to just post like a picture of a quote. But again, trial and error. So learned that. And like there are like accounts that do that have a day where they just post a quote. So I guess that would always be an option. Honestly, it's just I just got it so stuck in my brain to show up every day. And it's like I just couldn't not. So sometimes that meant 6, 7 o'clock, I'm on the couch in my pajamas and I made myself have a shower, half-ass throw myself together and get a photo. And then I find that was half the battle. If I could get a photo, then I could write a post. And sometimes it took a while. Like I'm digging through kind of old posts or digging through my notes and just kind of trying to find something. And again, setting the timers really helps. I'll set a timer for 5 to 10 minutes. And if it's just not coming to me, I'll leave it. Like if after that time's up and I'm just like, nope, then I'll go back to it. Sometimes it might mean listening or reading some personal development. Or just going to some accounts that inspire me and motivate me and just seeing if I can kind of pull something. And again, the days that I really don't like know what to post and I'm just not motivated, inspired, I will, like I said, either just post a quote or I'll do like a this or that or just something kind of fun, silly, just to try to get engagement. Like literally I'll just go on Pinterest and be like, oh, this and that things. And I'll ask people like sweet or salty, beach or, so just I kind of do it a little more lighthearted, fun, because those are a bit easier to come up with, I find, than like a full-blown, thoughtful post, if that helps. It just became a habit. Like, long story short, it really just became a habit. And now it's just like, I can't not post. As much as some days I'm like, oh, it's just one day. But then I'm like, no, I can't not post. Does anyone else have any questions or anything they want to share? I know I didn't mean to make everyone not able to unmute themselves. So just let me know if you need to be unmuted, or you can type it if you're not comfortable. Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, well, if no one has any Patricia, unmute you. Okay. Ask. It says I'm asking to unmute you. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I just wanted to like pop on because I remember when I started and we had our first one-on-one, like Jen literally said, show up on your stories and show up on your post, and you're gonna, by showing up every day, you're gonna have people come to you. And it's so true. Like I haven't missed a day since starting because Jen told me that that's a non-negotiable. So I just put in my head like I have to. It's a non-negotiable. It's part of my business. So yeah. And
So
it's been what, a year and a half.
Do you have days where you just don't feel like posting? And like, do you have any tips that help you? Like, where do you get content or what do you do if you have those days?
I usually just post like a photo of the kids or something on those days and share something about my kids, my family. It's simple things I don't have to think about.
Yeah.
And I also will, on Sundays, I will write out some posts off of like notes. When I was working full time, I wrote all my posts for a whole week, every Sunday.
That's awesome. That's something I like always say I'm going to do, write out my posts for a week. It hasn't happened yet. But.
Not so much now that I'm full time at home, but when I was working, awesome. It was easy.
Yep. That's something I did try to do when I was working a lot as well. It's like even just the night before, write out my post for the next day. even just one day in advance helps huge. Again, because if you just end up having a busy day, that stuff can really help. And it was funny actually, Patricia, that you said like posting up the family. That reminded me, days where yes, sometimes I don't know what to post. Like I'll just ask my boyfriend like, hey, can you get a photo with me? And then I'll say something about him and I, or, you know, again, just something fun, lighthearted that doesn't require a lot of thought. And people love seeing that too, because he's obviously a big part of my life. So you could share your kids, your family. If you have pets, you know, snap a photo with your pets and just don't overthink it. Just share. Like sometimes literally Pinterest is a game changer. Like if you're like, that's where I find a lot of quotes or like this or that ideas, or just like last night, for example, I did a post just about leggings, but I found a quote off of Pinterest. How do you choose who to friend when it's random people? So are you, Liz or Lizette, are you talking about Facebook? Like how do I send friend requests? I'm guessing. Yes. Okay. So Facebook, honestly, I find for a long time, you're going to know them or know of them or have a bunch of mutual friends in common. So I know for me, it took a while before I got to people that I did not know at all. And once I got to that point, I would check out their page. I would still try to have mutual friends in common. Like I think still now, I usually at least have like 3 to 5, 10 friends in common with them. So that was a big thing I would go for. And I would just check out their page. If they were someone that I felt like I could connect with, they seemed fun, similar interests, I would shoot them a friend request. The odd time you'll get someone message you and say, do I know you? And the first few times that happens, it's terrible. Like I remember feeling like sick, like, oh, like, what do I say? But I just honestly say you popped up and suggested friends. We had some mutual friends. I'm always like, I like connecting with new ladies. So I threw out the ad. No worries if you don't want to accept. Most of the times they will. I actually just had a girl the other day say, sorry, I don't accept people that aren't close friends and family, but she was super sweet. We actually continued chatting for a few minutes. She still didn't accept my friend request. No. But still, like nothing bad has ever really came of it. I'm just honest, like, hey, you popped up. I always like looking to connect with new women throughout the ad, and they're really good about that. And then Instagram I find is a little easier to follow people because that's what that platform's kind of all about. Random people follow random people all the time, whereas Facebook's a bit more tight knit. But yeah, I just, again, if they look like someone that I would connect with, I just send the ad. Either they'll accept or they won't. Most do though. Katie, yes, I think I unmuted you.
Good, thank you. Question. So I felt like I definitely haven't posted once a day, but I'm new to all of this, but I felt like when I started posting a little bit more, and this is me being vulnerable, like the likes went down, and I felt like people are like, oh, she's posting too much. And I don't know if that's a problem, or do you feel like when you started posting every single day that like the engagement wasn't as high, or like did you go through kind of a low period where it was like lower engagement? And so now I was like, well, maybe it's quality over quantity and I shouldn't post as often. Just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Good question. So for me, because I've always posted every day, I can't really say if the engagement was better or worse when not posting every day because I've always posted every day. And then if you're talking about lately, I feel like engagement and stuff's down all across the board. And I feel like that's just normal with social media. We kind of go through those times. I try to tell people do not get wrapped up in the likes and stuff because it can eat you alive. I have been there and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I put so much time and thought into that post and it barely got any likes. And then I throw up a picture of me and my boyfriend and it gets 5,000 times more likes, So it's like, just try not to think about that. I still recommend posting daily. But whatever works best for you, like you and your schedule, at least 5 days a week, I would say. And just try it out. I don't know, like just try not to think about, the likes and engagement. quality definitely over quantity for sure. So it's like, as long as you know you're putting out good content, like I know Cheryl mentioned last week, like if you're not adding value, entertaining, like educating, there's a couple other things, and like don't post it. But yeah, sometimes the likes are just weird. So I definitely wouldn't like take that as a sign to not post more at all. It could have just been a weird day. It could have been the time you posted. There's so many factors that I feel like go into that. I don't know if that helped at all. If anyone else has an answer or something they can want to add. Oh yeah, I'm sorry you guys. I don't know how I did this mute thing.
So I think, Katie, I think you make like a good point with that. If you've never really posted before and then you post like a really cute picture of your kids, you're probably going to get a lot of likes on it. But if you post a picture of your kids like every single day, like that, the novelty of that is going to go down, right? But if you are consistent and adding value, helping people get to know you, educating, inspiring, motivating, then I think you maybe not going to get that, like, let's say you got 150 likes for that first picture. Maybe you're not going to get 150 likes every single post. Some of your posts are going to resonate more with people than others, but you still, even if you're not getting those likes, like 150, like you got on that first one, it doesn't mean you should stop posting. Maybe you need some more variety. Maybe people are just creeping on your posts and not liking them. Like that totally happens. I have lots of people that I follow and I never, it's mean, like maybe not mean, but I never like any of their posts, but I always go back and I check what they're doing. So you never know who's seeing your posts, even if they're not liking it. And there's some kind of posts that are just not going to get like tons and tons of likes, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do them. Like maybe a call to action about coaching post, maybe, or something you love about coaching, maybe it's not going to get 150 likes, but if you keep doing those posts like consistently over time, then people are going to, you know, when the time is right for them, they're going to join your coaching sneak peek or join your team or whatever. And I feel like there's this marketing principle that people need to see things 7 times before it actually goes into their brain. So maybe you feel like you're posting the same thing over and over again. But that's not even necessarily a bad thing, even if it's not getting tons of likes, because the first 3 times they didn't even read your caption. And then the 4th time they kind of read it. Then the 5th time they read every word. And the 6th time they like memorized it. So you have to keep repeating some of the same ideas over and over again, even if it's not getting tons of likes. There should be variety, but there also should be repetition, if that makes sense. Yeah, like she said people reach out and they've never liked any of your stuff before. And I've also had like Patricia said, I've had people, sometimes people just need to see one post, right? And it just has to hit them at the right time. So I say, like what Jen said, just being consistent and don't let the numbers get to you, but definitely keep posting, because the right people are eventually, the message is going to get through to them if you keep posting. And just be you, and like don't get caught up in the numbers game. And just post, like sometimes when I'm feeling I don't know what I'm going to post, but I just post whatever's on my mind that day. Like sometimes when you don't post every single day, you put too much thought into the post, like you overanalyze before you do it. So probably, you know, like Jen, she posts every day. She probably doesn't overanalyze before she posts. She just posts because she does it every day. So anyways, those are my thoughts on it. Don't worry about the numbers, and people need to see things over and over. And so it's like variety and consistency. That would be my advice.
Oh, that was awesome. Yep, nailed it for sure. That was great. Anything else anyone wants to say or add? I always like that one quote. I'll maybe just wrap it up with this: how you can never say the wrong thing to the right person. So just be you, show up. Again, yeah, don't worry about the likes and stuff, because honestly, like I have girls, they'll be like, Jen, I've watched you for 2 years, never liked a single post, never really watched anything, and then they join. So people are always watching. And yeah, as long as you're just showing up and it feels good what you're sharing and you're happy with it, that's all that matters. The right people will either reach out to you or like and comment. And like Cheryl said, yes, some people, like they do have to see it that is like a statistic. They have to see something, yeah, like 6 to 10 times or whatever it is, before it really like clicks. So it's like Big Brother. They're always, yes, they are always watching. Okay, well, if no one has any other questions or anything, we can wrap it up, let you guys get on with your Friday afternoon, morning. Thank you guys so much for popping on and for listening. And we will see you guys next week. Same time, same place. It will not be me. I don't know who's speaking, but it will be amazing. So I hope to see everyone next week, and enjoy your Friday and your weekend. Bye, guys.